All right. Well, hey, neighbors. Welcome to the Shed Shop. And we have a very special guest in the Shed Shop today. This is our neighbor, John. And we're working on getting this video up, but we're working on John's 028 Super Wood Boss right now. John brought his stuff over to me. He's a tinkerer. You'll see the story. And John actually just decided to buy my 025. Now, the interesting thing is, when John brought his saws over, the one we diagnosed was an 025. And so we're going to make a deal on his saw. But this one, we're going to show you in this video. This is going to be a how-to. And we have to change the spring on John's handle, which is what we were going to do tonight. And so we figured this channel is going to be personal. John's a fellow tinkerer, like I said. And he was here tonight, and he's showing me some of his projects. And he's working on tractors and log splitters and chainsaws and all this different stuff. And so we just want to say welcome to our fellow tinker, our neighbor John, and we're going to teach you how to change this spring, and we're just going to hang out, neighbors. And if John wants to tell us more stories while we're working, he can.
A lot of them.
That's okay too. What did you say? You got a lot of them?
Yeah, I got a lot of them.
Well, John, we love hearing them. Okay, and we're not going to put gloves on because this is a nice clean saw. There might be a little bit of dirt in it because we've been cutting with it. And we'll probably end up cutting with it one more time before John comes to pick it up tomorrow because I like these saws. But that's okay. We got a whole bunch more we're building.
When it leaves.
What's that?
I said you're going to miss it when it leaves.
I'm going to miss it. Yeah, I like these 025s a lot. But I have a couple more that we're going to be putting together. And so basically, we're just going to remove our 2 3/4 bar nuts. And I'm going to move it over to the table. Because this is one job you're not going to be able to do in your vise. Maybe I should put gloves on. John, close your eyes. Don't look how dirty she is. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, neighbor. Okay. John, what time is it?
10 o'clock, I think.
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock right on the dot.
Now, this saw, you guys, real quick. I just want to give you a little bit about the saw. The saw is on the channel. It's the very first 025 I've done a full rebuild on the channel. We showed you basically after it's been cleaned. And it's got a beautiful brand new OEM sprocket on it. And so in 6 months, when John brings the saw to me to be serviced, preventative maintenance, if his sprocket's tore up, I'm going to have to say, John, I don't know what we're going to do about this dirty sprocket. So you just use a screwdriver to get your retaining clip off. You remove your retaining washer. Your sprocket will slide right off. Remove your needle cage. Wait a minute. We're going to have to start over, John. We'll just edit this part out because I know how to edit now. We're changing your spring.
Yeah.
See? This is my mind, though, brother.
Took off that little
cover
right
I was
there.
looking at this pretty sprocket and I got
Taking off.
distracted. That's brand new. OEM steel. Okay. We're going to try again, neighbors. Maybe we won't cut it. I like it being raw and real sometimes.
Yeah, make sure you
John's
line that
beautiful
notch up.
OEM sprocket. Make sure what, John?
I said make sure you line that notch up.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we had to line a notch up for the worm gear. Because you're on these newer saws. Now, I do work on old saws that don't have worm gears like that. Like I like the 024s, they just have a continuous oiler, which means even if your chain is not spinning, if your motor is on, your oiler is continuously running. And those 024s with those oilers, they sling some oil. Okay, let's try this again. So, the first thing you're going to do is remove your what size screws, John? T25s or T27s?
T27.
Your 2 T27s that Matthew always calls T25s. And guess what? We don't have the T25 bit in our, see? There we go, T27 bit. And since it's only going to be 2 screws we got to remove to do this job, we're just going to remove this dust cover, and that's what you hear, you guys. That little click there, that's that Loctite that I use letting loose. I like to use it because there's a lot of vibration on your chainsaw. And so anywhere I can use it, I will use it. And then your other screw, it's going to be right down here. Another T27. And that's that Loctite. Now, if I'm doing a saw, I think might have a problem because I'm like, well, that's a $40 part. And so let me see if this one's good, because it looks good, like an intake boot. And I think I might end up having to take the saw back apart. I don't use Loctite, because as you can see, it does make the screws a lot harder to turn. And so I'll just do it on what I believe to be the final assembly of the saw, because a lot of times, you guys, a tinkerer has to take stuff apart more than once, and that wears and tears on your screws, your threads. These are plastic chassis. John, I said I wasn't going to glove up because your saw wasn't that dirty, and it's pretty dirty. All right, so you guys can see what we're doing here. And then this cover is just going to pop off. And John, being a fellow tinkerer, has told me he's never actually had to change one of these springs before. And so, he's learning with you guys, neighbors. All right, now, we're going to flip this up. I think I'm going to have to move you guys to give you a better view. And it also helps me be able to see the camera to make sure you can see. And now, you can see in there, we're nice and clean, which is pretty. That's good. Remember, you guys, anytime you're working in this area with your chain brake and you're going to remove stuff, always engage your chain brake. That means push your handle forward. Okay? It decompresses this spring here. That's important, because you do not want to remove that like that on a big saw. This one might not be as bad. You might only take one eye out. The other one, take your eye and your brain out on a big saw. So, just push your chain brake handle forward and decompress that spring. For this, we're going to have two retaining clips here. Or I'm sorry, one retaining clip here. The 028 has two. I've been working on 028s. I got 028 mania going on in the shop. We've got 4 028s torn apart, completely down, getting completely serviced and rebuilt. And then we've got one that we've serviced. It's been completely torn down, but it now has blowback, and it's leaking behind the carburetor. We're going to show you that video eventually. Make sure you don't lose that little clip. Okay? And I probably shouldn't have taken that off. I should have taken the spring off first, but that's okay. I like to usually, if I can, I just kind of point it toward my bench. Now, I will put my hand in front of it, because it can be dangerous. But as long as it's decompressed, it's not that bad. You just take that out, unhook it from your lever there. It hooks right there. And then you're going to take this, I just looked up the name of this thing again too today. I think it's called a slide or strap. Remove your strap. The technical term is strap, okay? And I had the part number for you guys, but John's here. And when a neighbor shows up, we just go and roll with it. And so that stuff is inside. Next thing you want to make sure you do is there's a little spacer here. And on some models, you guys, it's actually behind this arm here. But on this model, it's going to be right under your strap. Set that aside. Make sure you don't lose it. Put it with your other parts. And then we're going to come over here. We're going to remove this T27 on the collar, because in order to get to this spring, I do believe it is very much necessary to remove the whole handle. And so we're going to take our T27 again. And you guys, this is what this channel is here. We're not just teaching you how to work on saws. We're going to share our neighbors' projects. Neighbors stop by and want to turn wrench or watch us turn wrench and chatter. We're going to do it, and we're going to share some of that with you. John's been here for, I don't know, a couple hours, John? Mm-hmm. And he's just been showing me his projects. Tractor pulls and all kinds of stuff, and I'm just like tickled. I'm like, I'm smitten. That's so cool. So John showed me, what was that truck he was driving there, that 10-speed for the fire department, John?
It was International Harvester Lodestar.
International Harvester Lodestar. Nice. And it's he showed me a restoration, you guys, he did on a tractor. Eventually, I hope I get the pictures up for you, because he did a real fine job. And I think humble pride is okay. I think John should humbly be proud of the job he's done on that tractor. I'm impressed, and I don't know that I could have done it. All right, now, sometimes you have to work this stuff, you guys, and I'm going to show you, but this shouldn't. It's all been out. It's all clean. It should come out pretty easy. I'm just looking for the needle nose that have disappeared a lot lately. You're just going to grab your chain brake band right here, you guys. Lift it up out of that groove. If you find it's getting stuck, you can just move this arm back down. Just push that pivot point down there. Okay? And then just gently, you have to be careful, because you don't want to bend these things. If you bend these chain brake bands, it can mess you up. And with John's new sprocket, Maybe we'll get it out, maybe we won't. And if we won't, we're going to show you how to do the sprocket and get it out of the way. So we will, since we messed up anyways earlier. We're going to show you how to move the sprocket to make it easy, because it's only a couple of pieces and it only takes a second, and it's better than fighting stuff, I promise you. So I'll move my clip up. Again, put your screwdriver between your clip and your shaft, and I'm usually going to use a big scrunch on this, but then pry it. Use your crank arm as a pivot point. Make sure your spring doesn't, or your retaining clip doesn't go flying. Remove your retaining washer. Pull your sprocket out. That's out of the way. Careful you don't lose your needle cage bearing. I'm going to take it off so we don't lose it, even though I have plenty. And then we'll do this again, and it's a lot easier. Now, all you have to do to get your chain brake band off of this arm is just turn it, and it will come right out of its clip, okay? And then when we put it back in, we'll do the same thing. We'll start it there, and we'll just go in reverse. All right. Now, the final thing is we just need to work our handle off. We're getting John's pretty saw all greasy. John's back here with his ear steaming because we're getting his saw dirty, I think. What do you think, John?
Yeah, it's going to be dirtier than that.
Yeah, John's going to put this saw to work. He fired it up in the shed tonight, and I tried to sneak up on him, neighbors, with the camera. But as soon as I got the camera and pushed record, the instant I pushed record, he had turned the saw off. And it didn't even register my touch on the phone anyways. So, John didn't let us sneak up on him. We tried. Okay, like I said, you guys, you just want to be patient. It always works off a little bit different on different saws. You just got to get behind stuff and gently work it off here. And if you lift stuff together, it's typically much easier. I'm going to go ahead. I'm sorry, you guys, for the camera, but I'm a little sore today, and I can't hold things the way I want to hold them to demonstrate for you perfectly. I'm going to remove my bumper strip out of the way. It's kind of like John's 028. It beat me up. It did. It beat me up the other night. His saw bit me twice, if I remember correctly. John's seen the video. The problem is I merged the 3 videos together that the phone took by itself. I was going to do one long video. And, okay. I'm struggling. Bear with me a moment. I'm going to catch my breath and see what I'm doing wrong. Let's see. It should just usually pry right off. But they do get caught randomly on different things. And so I don't know what we're caught on back there. These handles are pretty flexible. I mean, they're stiff, but they're also flexible so that they can be pried off. Just sometimes, maybe I get nervous. I don't want to break stuff. Sometimes I don't care, but sometimes I do. John's right here. I don't want to break his saw in front of him, even though I can just put a new part on it. Just caught back there on
Part
something.
of the warranty, right?
That's right. Well, you ain't paid yet. You ain't got a warranty yet. There we go. See, it's just caught. It's just sometimes they get these handles really do, you guys. So don't get discouraged. Persevere. It just got caught a little bit. All right, what are we replacing in this? This is called a flat spring. That's exactly what it's called. I did have the part number for you. And John, you got your phone. You got terrible service here, don't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're in the woods. John doesn't get service. I was going to have him look up an IPL on this, but we'll get the part number and we'll put it in the description for you guys because I do have it, okay? And so, I'm going to go over here. I don't have a brand new spring, but I know I've got springs that are good. I probably do have a brand new spring. I just don't know where. We're going to get John a nice spring out of here. And then, you guys, basically this spring, you're going to see this part right here. This is exactly how this spring goes, okay? And it's going to sit down in here. Where all that little bit of black is right here, you guys, is where that other part of that's going to sit. So you do want it to be in there snug. And I knew, you can watch the video. Matthew knew. That one's loose. We can't use that one either. I think, let's see here. No, I think that one is a little bit different there. Bear with me, guys. I'm thinking. You will see me do this. I get quiet. It's okay. Okay, they're all seeming to be loose in this saw. So guess what we're going to do? I'm going to take this one because it was nice and stiff. This is a tinker's life, you guys. Sometimes you just try different things. You find out what's going on. And you just have to find a solution to a problem. And maybe that's part of why I enjoy tinkering. Sometimes the problems are frustrating, but sometimes the problem is the solution to redemption. You pray for patience, and your patience will be tested, I promise you. If you pray for courage, you will be put in situations where you have to be brave. I promise you. If you pray for wisdom, you will be put in situations where either you better figure out some wisdom or you're going to be in deep trouble. I promise you. Okay. We're just trying this out right now to see if this spring is going to resolve the problem or not. I don't know that it will. And if it does not, there's a different style spring. All of these did not have it, but there is a slightly different setup that will also fit in the chassis. And so if that's the case, we'll order John one. And when it comes in, we'll put it on a saw. Simple as that. Okay, I do like to keep things clean when I can, you guys. Especially when the neighbor that bought their equipment, the neighbor that bought this saw is right here in front of me. Just kidding, guys. Alright, let's see, John. What do we think? And again, you guys, this is one of those things. I don't have the saw completely torn down. So you just have to find the right angle, carefully, working things on. Just take your time. Don't get in a rush. And it'll all work out. You just have to take your time on these things. Some of it is literally just taking your time and getting it to fall into place where it needs to be. There's a lot of different things to contend with. Okay, now, we've got that on there, and see, we're having the same problem. And so, we now have to ask ourselves, even though the spring's sitting in there, it could be our chain brake handle is worn. You guys, this is what I like about this channel. I will very unlikely edit much of this video. We want you guys to see, because if you're working on stuff, just don't give up. If you have a problem, just look at different things and you can figure it out. You guys can do it, I promise you. Patience and perseverance. We don't give up. We persevere. I was talking to John, you guys, about sometimes I just grab what's on the bench in front of me, because we was talking about different ways we pull flywheels. And I was telling me some of his tricks. Some tinkerer tricks, and that's what I love about the trade too. It's not always, you can't always do what it says in the manual, you guys. We don't all have thousands of dollars to buy specialty tools. The shed shop has you know, a couple $1,000s in specialty tools, not the tens of thousands of dollars it would take to have all the specialty tools to work on every steel chainsaw model there is. I don't have it. Okay. Just trying to be gentle, you guys. Take my time. Don't want to break nothing. And then when we're done with this video, John's going to tell me what he think I could have done better to get this thing off, because he's got a different angle than me. He's got a different set of eyes than me, and he's a tinkerer, so his eyes might see a different solution that I didn't see, or a different way to turn something that I didn't see. And so that's okay. But this one is being difficult. Okay, there we go. Patience, you guys. See that? Perseverance. John, let me see what we got for handles over here in this box, actually. I don't think it's your handle.
Yeah, let me look at that one.
What you think, John?
See the new one.
Yeah, different style handle. Nope. No, it's not. I thought the clip was a little different.
Both seem a little wore. Seem like they're always high right there on that front side, and they're low right there on the back side.
Just hang out, neighbors. We're just tinkering.
This one seems like it's a little higher. That's the one that you just handed me. Try it, see what it does.
Okay.
That's all you can do.
John says,
If
let's
it
try
don't
it.
work,
Excuse
then
me,
we'll
Angel.
do another one.
Well, if it don't work, I think we get a different spring setup. I know they make one. I just got to pull up the IPO. Also, we can grab another chassis.
Yeah, that's like it's a little higher.
This is the great thing. I do have lots of different stuff I can compare, and that is kind of nice. You see, that one sits in there loose too, but the problem is, I can't imagine all these springs being bent and worn out. But you know what? The springs, I think, are only like $2, you guys, and even though I got to pay freight on them, it's kind of silly, but I was planning on getting a bunch of them tomorrow, or Monday, at the stihl deal, when I order. See, because look, John, this one's sitting loose too. It's not as tight as it needs to be. Now yours I did initially, you could see in the video, I straightened it out some like that, because I have been able to resolve the problem like that before.
That's what I was gonna ask you, can you straighten it out a little bit?
And then it does seat it more snug in there. But I think the problem is not so much how snug it is in there. I think our spring is just needing to be properly shaped right here. But I'd always rather just put a new $2 part in than try and bend it around and stuff. It's just probably worn out from being old.
See what that looks like when I handle that might take care of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to reshape stuff.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you do. Custom. God, John was showing me some of this custom stuff he did on this. What was it? He put a starter panel on the wood splitter and just all kinds of stuff. It's pretty cool.
Electric start.
I really hope to get a slideshow together of it for you guys someday. We want to share each other's projects, and that's what go down in the comments, you guys. Tell us what you're working on. What are you tinkering on today? Tell us your projects. Send me some photos at smallengineredemption@gmail.com, and we'll try and get them on the channel at some point. Oops. I need light suggestions, you guys, because the LEDs are not working for me. I cannot see. I can see fine in the daylight. I cannot see at night. And I cannot see under this artificial light, and I do not know why. I do not know why. I probably should just get this worked over first and then slip that in, because these handles are being pains. I hate when I can't work on stuff in my vise. Okay. We're gonna get there. Here's the when you guys install this piece, sorry I kind of forgot you guys were there, neighbors. You'll see this is hooked, okay, and this is kind of open down here. That's going to be the top where your spring, this spring hooks on, and this is going to be the bottom where your chain brake band hooks on. Okay, neighbors, look at that. No, John, that didn't solve a problem, but I'll tell you what we can do. While we got it in there, check this out. Then we kind of know. See what I'm saying? That little divot up there has got to go higher, so the spring almost has to be collapsed in a way, which then makes it sit in the body loose. But we're tinkering. We'll still probably buy a brand new one. I don't say probably. I just want to put a brand new one in it. I don't see why not. It's only $2. John gave me a very good price, very fair price. The same price I usually get for my first nicest 025 or MS250 that comes out of a stack that I'm doing. And so, what do we care about putting a brand new $2 spring on it for you, John? Why not? Boy, these things are fighting me right now. Yeah, they just don't want to get started. It's just the getting it started that seems to be the problem. And there you go. I just did prove that you can pull this, stretch it. I always do it, but I just get nervous. They're a lot tougher than I think they are.
It ain't gonna go nowhere.
think it's because John's here that I'm struggling so much. I'm going to blame him. Is that cool with you, buddy?
That's fine.
All right, appreciate that, neighbor. That's a good neighbor right there. That's selfless. Yeah, you can blame me for your problems. I don't care. That's fine. I'm used to taking the blame.
I got somebody watching me and making me nervous too, so.
Goodness. I'm already fighting me so bad. All right, so what we're looking at, I'm going to tell you what me and John were looking at. Your handle right here sits, okay, on the spring, and it's supposed to give tension up that way. Now, we did flatten it some to help it stay in here, but the problem is it needs to be up, okay?
What if you collapse it in?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to try and do. It's not so easy when you have arthritis, though. Oops, sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
I just feel like I need to make sure I'm not putting it in backwards. I know it don't go this way, but it just seems silly. I could be wrong. It could go this way.
Part of it, I think.
Huh?
I said the high.
Yeah,
part of it
see,
should
it can't
point.
go that way.
Mm-mm.
You know, but there's a little groove down there, and why is that notched open like that is my thought. But it's the sad thing is I've done hundreds of these. I've done hundreds of these. John can tell you how many saws are in his shop. They're just all over the place. I'm drowning in chainsaws. Boxes upon boxes upon
You got
boxes.
more saws than what I got. And that's bad.
John, I think what I just heard, neighbors, is this neighbor said I need to buy more chainsaws from you. I'm pretty sure that's what I heard.
I got home lights, so.
Well, I got plenty of vintage saws in the back of the van for you, John.
I like my home lights.
I got plenty of home
Well,
lights in the back of the van.
I know
for
they're
you.
old, but man, they run good.
Is that what you like about them? Because they just run good?
Mm-hmm. That's gonna be fun putting in there.
Mm-hmm. I think I collapsed it too much. And that's part of arthritis. That's okay. Can't quite feel what I'm doing. So I have to really completely go by eye on that one. I don't know. I think that might be good. Problem is, it's just in there loose. So once it gets in there though, this holds it in. Okay, how many rounds am I gonna go with a chain brake handle right now? Tell me, you guys, what do you think? Well, I don't even know what round we're on. But I'll tell you what, we got a neighbor here. His saw's gonna be on the channel, probably before this video. And we're just hanging out tinkering. Now this is a little bit better because sometimes I do find that I need to push the spring down to get the handle behind it, and that's good. So hopefully. Just trying to line everything up at once, and the spring popped away. Well, I suppose, John, I don't know how I'm going to shorten this video because it's going to be long. We'll find a way. Because I want my neighbor being here, tinkering on the chainsaw with me. Well, I'd say it's pretty darn close. Yeah. I still want to put a new one in there for you, though.
That's fine.
Okay, so for now, though, so you can take your saw home, we'll do that.
You can hold on to it till you can put that in there for me.
Okay, well, I thought you were going to give me some space in the shed shop, John.
I don't need it. I don't need it tonight.
All right, so anyways, you guys, now I'm going to put this one back in first, just to kind of help hold things in place. And we'll do a better video on how to change that spring in the future when his comes in. If I don't have one in stock, because I got boxes and boxes of parts all over my house, all over my bedroom, all over my living room. Oh, you work on home lights, that's right. Did I show you that big home light lot that I bought of parts, home light parts? Oh, new old stock home light parts, still in the cardboard and paper sleeves, and oh, John's eyes, neighbors, you should have seen neighbor's eyes just lit up when I said that. He does. He has a beautiful home light chainsaw, and I'm praying that the Lord's going to give him some time to work on it because it's his. Tell me, you said you had that saw since you was 16. Is that what you told me?
Yep, it's
the blue one?
No, this is
the one you showed me. The pictures of.
If you hadn't asked me, I could have told you. No, I don't have no.
Didn't you show me pictures of a blue one? A blue home light.
I have one, but it ain't the one I've had.
Okay, so
16.
here's the chain brake band, you guys. We're gonna set that over here because it's gonna be a little bit easier to put some other stuff back together first, and then once you have your sprocket on, the chain brake band might be easier. Or you remember how we contended with trying to get the chain brake band off with the sprocket on? You can go ahead and put your chain brake band on. I think right now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put our spring on first, and that way we don't have to worry about messing this lever up, having this hooked in there, and bending this chain brake band. So for this, all I do, they do make a little tool for this. I don't have it. It's like $3. I keep forgetting to order one. I've always done it this way though. I don't usually use the little thing to hook it. This always works for me. I literally just grab it right here with my needle nose. Okay, that's all I do. Grab it with the needle nose right there, and I just kind of use my thumb against my needle nose. I hold my saw and I just pull that, and I put it over that pin. Then I hold my hand on the spring because I don't want to let go of it and have it spring somewhere until I know it's on that peg there, and that's it. And then the next thing you put back on right here is your little spacer. Remember, so they have to go in this order. Your spacer on this saw goes above this arm, okay? And then your strap should have went on first. Sorry guys, but still not that hard to get behind that. Just lift up a little bit. It's good. It's good when I do stuff backwards, you guys, because if you do it backwards, you can see you might not always have to take it all the way apart. Okay, get that on there. We're gonna set that there. Get it on its groove. Make sure everything's in there good. And then that little tiny retaining clip, set it on the arm here, the little pin. And some of you can I probably could even push this one with my finger. I can feel it. It's hard, but you can do it. I usually, the proper way, if you can't push it with your fingers, maybe you've got arthritis with me, like me, we'll take it off and we show you the proper way. And this will be a good opportunity for me to sit down and edit. I really have been sitting down with John's video trying to decide the best thing to do. And we're going to talk about what we're going to do with his video, how we're going to post it. And so you can just set it there, you guys, and then just carefully, you want to make sure your needle nose aren't too far behind the edge of that clip. When you grab this clip, especially on the shaft here, you can see your needle nose. Okay, you want to keep it there because otherwise it's gonna, if it's beyond, it's gonna hit whatever you're trying to, and you're not gonna be able to get that pin to move anymore, or that retaining clip. All right, so now we'll go ahead and put our chain brake band on. I think it will be easier to put the chain brake band on before the sprocket on this particular saw. And to do that, I'm going to disengage the chain brake. And so that's the opposite, you guys. I've compressed, or I've put tension on the spring now because I don't want to have to pull my chain brake band way closed. I just want to set it down in there. And then you're just basically just going to hook it back in there, and you just work this into the chassis very carefully and get it down in its groove. Okay, it does set in there. There are little notches in your chassis that will set in on the 025 MS250s, and it's the same on the 017, 170, 180s, etc. Not all of them are identical, but on these models they are all the same. Okay, next thing we've got is sometimes it's easier to put the sprocket on but without the needle cage bearing because it can help you line things up. Not always. I don't always do it, but essentially, remember guys from other videos, you've got your notch out here, and that notch out is for, let's see if y'all can see, down in there, that little worm gear right there. We want to line that up with that arm, that worm gear. And then while I'm here, even though this saw has been rebuilt and it's only got like 4 hours of cutting on it, I'm still going to go ahead and put more grease on this bearing because why not? It's a part that's supposed to be greased, and so we'll grease it. And to do that, all you guys do is put it inside the bearing a little bit. You don't need a ton. On this particular application, it's different. It depends. On this particular application, Too much is okay, better than not enough, because you can wipe off excess. Buy crankshaft seals and stuff with worm gears. I don't like to do that. I like to just do just enough. And then just kind of line your bearing up, slide it down in there. Your sprocket's on. You have your retaining washer next, okay? And then you have your retaining clip. That's the clip we talked about. And for that one, we're going to hold it in place. Again, grab your needle nose, one side on your shaft, one side on your clip, making sure you don't go beyond the surface of the clip, the thickness of the clip with your needle nose, because you'll just get stuck on your retaining washer, like I just did. And there you go. That's it. And then we finally got the last piece, which is your dust cover. Whoops. And that just goes on there. You line it up. You want to make sure everything's lined up, because this thing does protect these parts from getting dirty and helps protect the longevity of your life. Now, we're going to be back in there, you guys, when we get a new spring, but we still want to just take care of it right now. All right, and so since I know I'm going back in here, that is the only reason I'm not putting Loctite on these screws. I know when we get a new spring, I'm taking them back out. No sense in putting them Loctite in them. It sounds like John's not going to use the saw until we put a spring in it for him. And if he wants to, that's okay, he can. These screws won't go nowhere most likely. And then finally your T27, and you tighten your screws down, you guys. And so that's it. We're going to tighten those down. But we're going to get personal again real quick. On this channel, this channel is about neighbors, fellow tinkers. John, I really saw your face light up when I mentioned that box of home light parts. Why was that?
Well, I always run home light. That home light saw that I got is a home light 240.
Okay.
And I've cut some wood with that thing that it shouldn't have cut. I picked it up off the same guy that let me have that other steel that I had over here, my other 025. Got it off of him for what did I get for it? So $60, I think.
The 028 Super?
That was the home light.
Oh, the home light. Okay.
And that's how I made my money whenever I wasn't working. That's the only chainsaw I have.
I'll be darn, cutting wood?
And I cut a bunch of wood with it. A bunch. I went through chains, I went through bars, and never changed the sprocket on it. And I don't even want to see the sprocket. It's just probably in terrible shape.
Right.
But
that long? Yeah. Right on. So, let me ask you, John, you want to go see this box of home light parts?
Yeah, we'll go check them out.
Okay.
It's almost getting...
Yeah, it's getting time to wrap up, you guys.
10:30.
Yeah, 10:30 at night. But you know what? This is what Shed Shop is. This man's been here for hours. We've been talking about projects, and he's a neighbor, and he's got his stuff here. This is a tinker. This is a man that could very easily fix his saw. No problems. He could do it. But he don't have time. And so he gave me the honor. And that's redemption, you guys. I'm telling you right now, the Chainsaw Redeemer, the name is what it is for a reason. Small Engine Redemption is named Small Engine Redemption because no matter what you've done in your life, no matter what you got going on, this man's taking tractors that other people have taken them even further gone than what he's doing, but he's taking tractors and restoring them, and he's taking other things and he's restoring them. And we're doing the same thing here. Redemption. He's redeeming equipment. It's just equipment, but it's still metaphorical and it's applicable to your life. And so that's going to be it for this episode. Please like the video if you liked it. And if you didn't, you can hit the thumbs down. That's okay. We just ask that you go down in the comments with kindness and tell us what you didn't like about the video and tell us what we can do better. I hope it was educational. I hope we get it edited well. And we will when John Spring comes in. We're going to take the saw again and we're going to do a better educational video for you guys on how to change that flat spring. Okay? If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, I would really appreciate it if you take the time to hit the subscription button, click on the bell, and click on all so you get to follow all the content, all the stories, and you get to meet wonderful neighbors like John who redeem me with their kindness and their trust and their love. That's it until next time, neighbors.